Clap. Thank you, Morgan, for playing along with this. I'm sorry we have to do it like this, but thank you, Morgan.
Experimental. Thank you, Morgan.
Oh, I gotta do my stretches.
You nearly forgot you would roll us into the podcast and pull
bit.
something.
I stretched my legs like a tiny bit. I was like, ooh, wait. This is every podcast I do, by the way.
Do a little stretch.
I always stretch right before we start.
All right. Nothing wrong with that.
Hello and welcome to the YASEcast. My name is Lamo. This is episode, oh boy, should have checked this one before we started, 17?
I think you're right. I think it's 17.
You would think eventually I would learn to look at this up beforehand, do literally the most minimal amount of work. I'm really just killing time while I scroll up one of our Yase channels to take a look at what the recording number is. Oh god, we talked a lot today in here. 17, that's right. This is episode 17 of the YASEcast. Thank you so much for joining us. I am still Lamo. Still. With me, you may have heard him already. We have Master Who on the podcast this week.
Hello.
And also, for the first time on the show ever, family favorite, TK Shadow.
Hey, what's good? I don't know about family favorite, but I'm here today to say things.
You're absolutely here.
I am here.
Imagine it's like there's a special guest that comes on for every sitcom, like once every 5 or 10, or in this case 17 episodes, and then it's just like they come on and the crowd loses their shit, and that's what I want to imagine is going to happen. People are like, oh shit, Gord's on the podcast.
It's real. That's how you know it's real.
That's how you know it's. I mean, it's coming. It's coming from the heart. It's coming from the heart. That's real enough for me, I guess. So, actually, I'll start with you. What have you been up to this past week, then?
This past week?
Yeah.
Playing various things. Just been on, the MMO grind, playing some Final Fantasy, some PSO2. Lots of news dropping for PSO2 recently. So,
yeah.
Lots of good stuff coming out over that way. So
that's coming out to Steam pretty. I want to say next month. Is that right?
It's the first week of next month, which coincides with the drop of episode 4, which is the next quote unquote big content patch to make it get caught up to with the Japanese version of the game. But I guess after I don't know 2-3 months going away from Microsoft and being well, we're on Steam now. Time to play the video game on that version if you want to.
I mean, anything's better than... I almost said Games for Windows Live. I don't know what it's called right now.
The Microsoft Store.
Yeah, close enough. Games for Windows Live.
Yeah, it's basically Games for Windows Live. Yeah,
the dark days of vanilla Street Fighter 4 online on PC.
Absolutely. Yeah, that game has been a nightmare for me to try and play. I eventually just kind of gave up. Now that it's coming back to Steam, I'll be a lot happier getting to play it. But I know it was always a nightmare trying from day one to get that game to play. So this is good news that it's coming to Steam, which is a lot more user friendly store and updating system. So I'm excited for that. PSO2 is a fun game. Episode 4 gets kind of wacky on its story and setting and stuff. So buckle in if you don't know what it is. Maybe stay blind. It'll be fun to load up the game one day and see what episode 4 is about, because it gets a little wild.
They certainly go places. That's for sure.
All right. So I have one important question, because I kind of didn't think about this until now. Was it harder to get the game running with the US launch, or trying to play it when it didn't have a US release at all?
The US launch is trials and tribulations.
Okay.
I personally could not get the game working day one because I apparently had to update my version of Windows 10 to comply with the Microsoft Store. And then one other time, basically I had to use a third-party program called Tweaker, which is a phenomenal program. You should be using that to launch your game. But there's a lot of problems with how the North American version runs, because like for one, it chunks off a part of your system, and you do not have access to your own parts of your hard drive anymore. You're not even allowed to like wander in there with your browser.
Yeah, it's annoying as shit.
And then like there was a problem where like your frame rate would drop every time you would see another character. That had something to do with like
I forgot.
It's something to do with how the Microsoft Store rendered things that did not exist on the Japanese version. But also, I had to like quote unquote reinstall the game like 2 times. There's someone that I know that had to reinstall the game 6 times. It just locked down their system and would not let them play the video game.
Jesus Christ. How is it so, like, I don't know if it's Sega is to blame. I don't know if it's a Microsoft Store thing, but like, how does it get to this kind of point? Like, that's crazy to me.
There is a thing about how it was originally on Xbox for like a period of like 2 or 3 months. And it might have been optimized for Xbox. Like, the problems I'm talking about do not show when you play on the Xbox version. It's only on the PC version. And explicitly the North American version. Because, like, I'm not sure if the Japanese version has an Xbox client. It used to have a PS4 version. No, it still does have a PS4 version, actually. But you can't play on PS4 in the North American version.
That's absolutely fucking wild. Holy shit.
There's a lot to untangle. I don't know whose fault it is, but it's a whole lot of someone's.
Lord almighty. Master Who, what have you been up to for the past week? Please tell me it was not reinstalling Phantasy Star Online 2.
Thank God. That was a few weeks ago. No, I had to personally reinstall that game. I want to say at least a minimum of 3 times, not including all the other launcher problems. Because, like Gordon was mentioning, I had to go into my system files and get myself further access than what admin access goes. It was kind of nuts. In any case, did not play PSO2 because I'm going to wait till the Steam version to like go back and play it. I'm playing mobile games, and that's about my whole last week.
All right.
Work has been a little nutty, so I haven't had a whole lot of time to sit down and play fighting games or sit down and play any of the games. Besides, I just picked up a mobile game called Tales of Cristoria, which is a game in the Tales series of RPGs and whatnot. So I guess the most I can say is the game is really fun, and it got me to go out and buy like 4 of those Tales games. So when I get some more time, I'm going to be playing like Tales of Vesperia, Tales of Berseria, Tales this, Tales that. I'm kind of on a Tales kick now. So just kind of been trying to squeeze in gaming with some mobile games while I'm bouncing between work and whatnot.
Cristoria is a good one for that kind of thing. There's a lot of content in there, pretty honestly like a pretty high quality release, honestly. Well, high quality game with how much they have in there. It's honestly quite impressive.
I agree. Yeah, there is so much content in the game currently right now. I believe tomorrow on the 29th, to date this podcast, tomorrow on the 29th, they're introducing more story. So
really?
There's going to be even more content. Yep. I'm trying to blast through all the difficulties on all the story stuff and collect all the gems and, generic mobile game stuff. Just trying to min-max my team and all that kind of stuff.
Min-max your team, roll a lot, get sad.
Roll a lot.
Roll
yes. More. Yeah.
The usual.
Yeah, it's just the usual mobile game fare. If you like mobile games, check it out. It's free. I haven't spent a dime yet, and I've still probably played a good 50 hours
Holy shit.
Yeah. When I say that's been my past week, I really mean it. That's been my whole past week. It's just been farting around watching YouTube and playing mobile games. Can't say I did too much else exciting, but that's been my life.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. I, for whatever reason, have never really got into mobile games, or at least not like gacha games. I've played like a handful of mobile games for like a little bit, but usually it's never anything that like I stick with for any significant amount of time. I think the one I've probably played the most of lately is the sequel to Desert Golfing, which I think is just called Golf on the Moon. It's been probably a week or so since I loaded that up. But that aside, I think that's the only one I've ever that's managed to get its hooks in me in any significant way. But nothing approaching anywhere near 50 hours though. Holy crap.
I don't know. It really is like when you have just the one game on your phone that you're just kind of sticking with. I guess hours add up pretty fast, especially when the gameplay just becomes just like rerun the same stuff over and over and over again. So you can collect materials to make your guys do bigger numbers on their attacks.
Yeah.
Can you explain Golf on the Moon to me though? Because that sounds pretty fun.
So I take it you have no experience with desert golfing.
No.
Okay, all it is it's a very simplistic looking game. I'll load it up even real quick for you. It's like
right.
it's like in my opinion probably like the perfect kind of phone game where I'm in like a weird where the fuck am I? I'm just gonna shoot backwards real quick, so that way you can get a better idea of what the game like actually looks like. Okay, I'm in a sands trap, and I hope that you can appreciate this. So it's literally like there's my ball. And it's just...
You just point and shoot. I'm going to describe this to our listeners.
And those little gray spots in the ground are what used to be holes. And it's just a lot of, like, it's super chill. And it's
that's
very
like
good.
Real zen.
Yeah.
So you just go along and you have to collect all the holes.
Yeah.
I got you. It's like a never-ending hole runner.
Yeah. It's an endless runner, but with golf. That's actually a much better way to word it.
Oh, that sounds
fun. Endless golfer.
That makes me think
endless
of
golfer. Yeah.
The look of it just like speaks to me of like old like game design from like the 90s and how like simplistic it looks. It's like almost nostalgic for me to look at it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very clean. It's just and kind of what you're saying. It's super zen, so it's perfect for like, yeah, I'm like waiting for something or I'm at work and there's some downtime. I'll just like open this up, just do a couple holes and close it up again. I think after 2 weeks of playing, I was like 300 or something holes in, like 350 holes in. So it's a very good time waster. I highly recommend it. It's like $2 or $3 worth it.
That's not bad.
Opinion. If you have like an Android phone, you like the Google polls or whatever, the surveys, and that's how I spend money on all my games. I just do surveys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Oh, you should check it out. Yeah.
What?
They'll send you surveys. It's like, hey, did you go to any of these places lately? It's like, hey, are you interested in any of these sorts of things? And then they give you like, usually the minimum you're gonna get is like 10 cents, but it just goes right into your Google account. So it's just.
Better start filling out those forms. Yeah. It adds up eventually.
It adds up. I probably got like $5 right now in my account, just from doing surveys. Yeah, like I can't complain.
Hey.
I'll give him my data for like 10 cents. Fine, fuck it. Eventually I'll get a golf on the moon or on Mars, wherever the hell I'm golfing. I don't remember. So, past week for me, what have I been doing? Okay, so I've been playing more stuff on my Mister, my little computer that it emulates essentially retro hardware, stuff like that. That's the super short version. Ordered a case to get 3D printed from a guy because they didn't have any cases when I ordered it. It got printed out. It looks really cool. It's for an older version of the Mister, or at least for one of the parts of it, so will not work. But it looks cool, so whatever. And then in another kind of funny mishap, so I ordered a controller adapter because I've been playing Super Mario World ROM hacks mostly, and so like I looked into it and I'm like, okay, well these ones have like incredibly low input lag, crazy low, like on par with like Brooks UFB, like stuff like that.
Oh, cool.
So I ordered it, came in today, super happy. Didn't realize I didn't order one for a Super Nintendo controller though. Ordered one for a classic controller port, but that's okay.
Oh,
because I have these nice SNES classic controllers that feel much better than my Super Nintendo controllers because they're not like worn out to hell.
Nice.
So that one at least worked out in my favor in the end. And I was like playing a little bit when I got home today, and I saw this came in, and I was like, yeah, okay, this is fine. The only problem, this is kind of like first world problems. My Mister sits right underneath my monitor, so it's 2 feet away maybe. This cable's so fucking long.
There really is. There really is
nice,
first world problems.
Like braided,
Look at that.
Cable. It's really nice. But then I also have the controller cable on top of that. So it's just I have so many cables.
You gotta invest in some cable ties.
I have some.
For my
I got them nice Velcro ones.
For my headphones, I actually have like a cable tie to get it tied together, bundled like nicely like that to shorten how long it is. So
I should do
it can
that.
be pretty convenient.
Yeah, I use them for everything else. I should probably. Oh, excuse me. I should probably use them for this too. That would make a lot of sense. Oh god! The cable's loose. It's everywhere.
There you go.
Jesus Christ.
Marketing speech right there. Cables are loose. Cables are everywhere. They're out of control.
Yeah, I'm over here looking at an infomercial like, whoa, all these cables are everywhere. It's like tripping over myself and like throwing cables everywhere. But yeah, so Mr. Mishaps have happened, but I'm still super happy with everything that's going on with it. And then let's see, I've gotten back into Fightcade Fightcade 2 has been out, and I finally, even though I've had it on my computer for a while, I've started like playing it on a regular basis now. So I'm gonna say for the past 3 nights in a row, including tonight, literally 10 minutes before the podcast started recording, I was like, yeah, I can fit in a first to 5 in Super Turbo. I've been playing a lot of Super Turbo lately, so I'm back on Fightcade. Fightcade 2 is really good. And maybe it wasn't before, but it's in a good place right now, in my opinion. So they have like ranked lobbies for a lot of games. You can actually challenge people. Like when I was saying I was playing a first to 5 before, it's sort of like you challenge someone to like a first to 2, 3, or 5 or 10. Like you can choose what you want to do.
Oh, you can?
Or you can just, yeah, in the ranked rooms at least you can. And so it'll like keep track of the score and all that shit. Like it's really cool. I like it a lot. Yeah, the game tells you, the client rather tells you, it's like, hey, this person might be on Wi-Fi.
Damn.
It gives you, yeah, like it's. There's some really cool stuff in Fightcade 2. If you haven't checked it out, I would highly recommend it. I think in the actual client too, it's like, hey, here's a link to like the full Fightcade 2 ROM set. So if you need to go download it, like, here you go.
Which I do. And do you want to see me in a first to 5 after the podcast recording?
Yes, always.
Okay, I'm at you after this then.
Hell yeah.
Didn't they also expand like what kinds of games you can play through Fightcade? Also, like,
yes. So they've added support through different emulators for like Super Nintendo games. There was I haven't looked into it, but I remember in like an early screenshot they were showing like Naomi games, like Capcom vs SNK 2, Marvel 2, stuff like that. That's also was built into the client. I haven't actually messed with any of that stuff yet, but it's there, and I'm super interested in it.
I'll need to take a look at that later myself.
It's super cool. It goes for any of you listeners too. If you ever want to play Super Turbo on Fightcade 2, hit me up on Twitter or wherever the hell you can find me, because I'm always down to play.
You heard it here, folks. Someone's going to catch these hands.
Literally, I play Honda. Catch these 100 hands.
Oh,
stick him to the
hands.
Stick him to the corners, slap him, and butt stop him.
Throw him. It's gonna be great. Give him the scoops.
I feel like
sorry,
any character that you would have said that you main, I'd be like, ooh, that's a nasty character, because like everything in Super Turbo is just like a nasty little character with nasty little things they can do. Everybody's just a mean-spirited person. Yeah, they're out to hurt you, and that's their goal.
Every character in at least either their regular version or their old version has some real fucked up shit. Like, everyone's got something that's fucked up, and I kind of love that. Except for Claw. Claw can go to hell, and he can die. He can die and go to hell.
do your best Claw voice right now for our listeners.
I'm gonna, like, move away from my mic real quick to do that.
Okay.
Yo!
Thank you. That was good.
My girlfriend is probably wondering, like, what the fuck?
I think you might have peaked on the. I think the audio might have peaked, but that's just gonna add to the.
It probably peaked
to the
through
experience.
This mic, but looking at Audacity.
It's just an arcade experience.
Yeah, it's the arcade experience.
yeah.
If you don't
Arcade
have
experience.
someone yelling next to you, that's just what it was like. Moving on though, I have a question I want to ask both y'all.
Hit me.
What's your Yase food truck? We know what Yase looks like. We have a clothing line. We know the fits. We know the style. If Yase is gonna put out a food truck, if I come to you, if I say, Master Who, TK Shadow, I need you to help me with the Yase food truck. The IRS is after me for tax evasion. I can't touch this fucking thing. I need you to design this food truck. What's it look like? What's on the menu?
Oh, that's a tough one. I obviously the truck has to be black and white, right?
Probably black and white. It's got to be black and white.
Yeah, it's gonna look like almost like an FBI paddy wagon, almost, but instead of putting people into the truck, we're delivering food into your mouth.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
That's our.
I need to look.
That's my motto.
I need to Google FBI paddy wagon real quick.
You know what? I do too. So I don't.
Is FBI paddy wagon gonna have like burger patties?
Oh.
You could go for the pun. That's like a Bob's Burger level pun, and I kind of like it. The paddy wagon.
Oh, I'm thinking of like an FBI like surveillance van. I'm not thinking of like a paddy wagon.
Oh, that's
like,
not fun.
Okay. No, well,
no one wants
it's
to
fun
go
when
to
you get
a food
a nice
van.
when you get a food. Well, the doors slide open and it's just hot, fresh food just waiting for you.
It's just hot.
No,
waiting
okay.
For you.
On second thought, can I retract all my statements? Can I like roll this back?
Everything, sure.
Can I roll back
you
everything?
Misspoke.
Everything's getting rolled back.
Yeah.
I think it would just be a nice little truck. Not threatening, not surveillancing people.
Nothing to do with the FBI.
Nothing to do with the FBI, and we're definitely not coercing people into vans for food. It's just a nice little truck.
We are most
Approachable.
certainly not doing that.
Okay.
At all.
Okay. Let's take a step ahead. Master Who, what kind of food? What's gonna be on the menu at your food truck?
Oh, I can do that. I think it's gonna have to be like dirt cheap food because we're not gonna be those like hoity-toity people that are like offering like $14 chicken tenders. You know, we're giving this. This is for the people.
No.
Yase is always for the people.
Exactly.
So we're gonna charge a reasonable $4 per menu item. In my head, I think Yase would be serving vegetarian and vegan specific food, but still making it like fast, savory soul food.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like vegan mac and cheese burgers, like vegetarian nachos, maybe some kind of like vegetarian wrap. I could see Yase doing that. Yeah. That's nice, and for $4 a pop, that's way cheaper than like most vegetarian places. Taco Bell's dropping the ball, so we gotta pick it up.
Oh, that's true.
Taco Bell's absolutely dropping the ball.
I'm so sad about that.
Yeah, we could just
how much
buy
more
as
time
many.
do we have?
How much time do we have? We have all the time in the world.
No, I mean
for Taco Bell.
Taco Bell. Yeah.
Oh, for Taco Bell.
Taco Bell get rid of potatoes.
You know,
how much?
Maybe that's the scheme. We could just buy as many potato soft tacos as we can manage to fit in our
Maybe
nice
our
little
food
van
truck is
saying.
and then rewrap it.
Yeah.
There you go. Hey.
We can be the Spud Buds.
The Spud Buds.
Just eat potatoes.
Oh, jeez. The Spuddy Buddies.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh
I
my
love
God.
it. I love it.
love
I
this so
actually.
much. An all potato. I mean, shit. You see those things like, because of COVID, the farmers just throwing away all their potatoes. Don't fucking throw them out. Give that shit to us.
Yeah.
that shit
yeah.
to
bring it
us.
on.
And we'll give it back to the community in the form of the Spuddy Buddies.
Spud Buds are here to save the farmers, to save the community, to get
Save
you
the
fucking
kids.
Carbs. If
Kids
you,
are without
if you
potatoes,
Aren't eating
yeah.
carbs, if you aren't eating carbs, I don't want to. You stay the fuck away. I don't want to fucking see you near our truck if you're on. Oh, I'm not eating carbs right now. I don't want you to.
Damn,
I don't
bro.
want to see you right now.
Sorry,
Eating carbs.
I'm sorry. We were lying. We're not so much for the people anymore. We're for the potatoes.
We're
Potato gang, rise up.
Rise up.
Rise up.
Rise up.
Rise up. Potato gang, rise up.
Potato
Yeah.
Two potato peelers in both hands.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Get over here,
Crossed
yes.
arms, Street Fighter 5 pose. Get that esports potato money.
Who's
I
that guy
know-
from Mortal Kombat that has like the two hooks for like weapons and everybody hates him? Cabal? Cabal?
I think
Yeah,
so.
just like I could just be him with potato peelers.
Yeah. or
Except
like
everybody's
Potato
not gonna
Mashers
hate
or
me.
Something.
He has that like side special where he like zip zooms onto the other
he
side of
zip
the stage.
zooms,
It's just gonna
zip zooms. Peels
Yeah.
the potatoes instantly for you. Like he just like
boom.
he runs past you and he just like spins your opponent. It also takes off their skin sometimes. That's that.
Yeah,
but
potato
for
skins.
potatoes.
Just like potato.
Perfect.
That is the best part. Well, not the best part. It's where the fiber's at. I don't know. I'm pro potato skin.
I'm pro potato skin.
I realize that a lot of people have gotten heat for saying that before. Some people a very dangerous thing to say. But I'm pro potato skin, and I'm not afraid to say it.
You're a
it
potato
on.
skin respecter.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, I think that would be my ideal food truck. Spuddy buddies, potato boys. Let's go.
Gord, what do you got?
I think generally speaking, it would be a vegan, vegetarian options food truck. As far as like what if we were like trying to specialize in something, like we can talk about like, well, what's on the menu, like various food items, like lots of options. I'd be like the first thing I thought of was like nachos from food truck would
Yeah.
probably be pretty good.
Nachos are real cheap.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, nachos are cheap. You can do a lot with them based on toppings. You can easily make it pretty vegan or vegetarian. Like if we're trying to specialize though, I'm not really sure quite yet. Like if the Yace food truck had to specialize in one food item, but we do a damn good job of it, I'm not sure what that would be quite yet.
Oh. Yeah, if it was just gonna be one food item to represent all of Yace,
Oh fuck.
that's a tough one.
That's a tall order.
It's gonna be
I
water.
don't know if
we're gonna
can-
just hydrate these bitches.
maybe a cold glass of water. That's
Yeah.
that's the one dish. The one thing we can all agree on.
Most important
Give me
thing,
that.
have a fucking glass of water. You need 12 of these, so
glass
you
of
better
water.
buy them from us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, please. This truck doesn't pay itself.
No,
No,
not at all. We
no.
are losing money.
Water aside, I would say I think nachos honestly would be my choice because you can individualize it.
Yeah.
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 Whatever we want with nachos.
Yeah.
Shit,
just
I
like
actually-
every member of Yace, we're all individuals. We got our own style.
I have to ask you guys, actually, this is a serious nacho question. So, me and my girlfriend, like, we kind of made our thing when we were long distance. Like, every time we'd share, we'd make chicken nachos, and that was, like, our thing. So, I have to ask you, because there's one important thing. How do you do your cheese with your nachos? Do you go shredded cheese? Do you do a cheese sauce? Do you mix this shit in? Like, how do you do your cheese on your nachos?
It has to be like a form of queso, like the runny stuff. It's already liquidized for. Usually I just get like Tostitos brand stuff, dump it on. I know it's not really authentic, but yeah.
I would probably go for a cheese sauce generally myself, but like if we're going for like, ease, speed and stuff, you just like get some chips, throw on some like shredded cheese or something, and then zap them in the microwave for a little bit.
I breathed in and turned away, and Retina has his face buried in his hands because he knew that I was not on board with the
Your
queso
face was
slash
ballooning
sauce.
up from trying to hold in whatever you're about to say. You were trying so hard to let Gordon speak.
Look, if you need to like cut me off because you gotta lay down the business, then sometimes you just gotta do that. I'm
All
just
right,
saying.
all right. You can't use the cheese sauce because all the fucking chips get soggy. They get all
What?
gross and like everything like slides off. And it's the messiest thing. I hate
Oh, it's
your hands get
fine.
messy as shit. It's not for like you dip a chip in some cheese sauce. Great, A+, love it. Nothing wrong with that. Can't go wrong with that. But for nachos, your chips get fucked.
It's fine. It's still edible. The chips are there. They're fine. Yeah, they might be a little more soggy than preferred, but what are you dipping your cereal into the milk outside the bowl?
What?
No.
Oh.
You
What?
Listen to me here. Listen to me here. I'm making a good point. Y'all stop. I'm making a good point here. So, like, when you think of a bowl of cereal,
Yeah. Hold on. Yes, I'm seeing
Yeah?
it. I'm seeing the cereal.
you're not taking your like individual like grains of cereal and dipping them one by one into the milk outside the bowl because you're afraid they're gonna get soggy.
No.
You just pour the milk in.
Yeah, because
and you
I have
deal
a
with it 'cause
problem
it's
and
better.
I eat too fast. So also, to be fair though, I purposely never buy cereal that gets soggy too quickly. Like Cocoa Pebbles, Fruity Pebbles, I never fuck with them.
Oh no!
Because they
Now
turn
you're
to
missing out on
mush, like,
cereal too.
immediately. I'll eat those dry. I will not have those with milk. Or if I really wanted to have them with milk, I would pour like a tiny bit of cereal in and then the milk. Then eat the cereal. And, okay, if I want, I'll put more in. But I hate it when cereal turns to mush.
Why
It's
don't you
the
like?
most
Partitioning.
unappetizing thing to me.
Why don't you try like having a glass of milk and a bowl of cereal, and then you combine them in your
Just a spoon and then
mouth? Yeah.
I could do that, but that's so much work. That's me getting two.
Oh,
That's me getting two things dirty: a cup and a bowl.
you're
And
thinking the long
spoon, if we're
game.
really, yeah.
It's fair. Dishes are hard work.
That was the most college answer I could have possibly given. But
Yeah.
which kind of ties in nicely to my food truck, because I'm like, damn, I want cheap eats. I want to make sure everybody's getting fed. If I'm cooking,
Damn straight.
everybody's eating. I don't care who the fuck you are, you're eating. I essentially want a food truck that's like the level of cheap of like Costco food court. That's what I want.
Yo, you want?
You're almost like
You want
force feeding
churros?
people.
We got them. $1
Yeah.
churros.
You want churros?
A mile long.
You want a hot
Oh.
dog? You want a fucking a chicken bake? We got you, dog. You want a kind of shitty salad? Cause you trying to eat right, but you ain't got a lot of money. We got you, dog. Yo, real talk though, the Costco hot dog deal, $1.50 for a hot dog and a drink. That is unfuckwithable.
Oh my
That-
god.
It is unfuckwithable.
That's what I want to strive the Yace food truck to be, though. We want to be unfuckwithable.
Unfuck-
That if there's any one word that could describe Yace, it's unfuckwithable.
Unfuckwithable.
Yes.
Now we could get some. So originally, I was like, "Ooh, okay, hold on. How about this?" Because this is when I was really thinking the college level, right? So it's a food truck, and it's it's kind of like salad or nachos. Actually, really close to nachos, right? But instead of chips, the base is all just mac and cheese, and then you get your mix-ins for what you want with that mac and cheese. You want some ground beef or some like fucking sausage or whatever. Cool, you can mix that shit in. You want us to put like some cayenne in there? Boom, got you, dog.
I actually have a small story about mac and cheese. Do I have like
Yes,
a 2-minute
yes.
period? So growing up, my mom made this like fantastic like homemade mac and cheese, family recipe style. Like made it, bake it. Like it was amazing as a kid. Like I always wanted it. It was just like the peak of like mom cooking.
Yeah.
So when I moved out on my own, I was like, Mom, I need your recipe. I need your recipe for this mac and cheese. My mom was just baking off of like the Velveeta like box. It was just the recipe off the box. She didn't do anything like different. It was just like her secret recipe was just the Velveeta recipe on the inside of the box. So that was my mom's famous mac and cheese recipe. It was just the Velveeta pre-boxed like. That was it. It was just the pre-made recipe. No secrets, no nothing.
If it
Didn't even
works,
like
don't
add her
fuck
own
with it.
flair.
That's
You don't
the
fuck with
most
it. It was
wholesome
perfect.
and adorable story ever. It's like,
So-
I just you used to make this mac and cheese and it always cheered me up. Like it was always like my favorite like home cooked meal you would make. It was like, sweetie, that was just like the recipe on the back of the Velveeta box.
It slayed me. I couldn't believe it. My childhood actually has kind of been ruined now. But it makes me feel a little bit better. Like, if I'm ever going to be a dad, it's going to be like, yeah, this Velveeta mac and cheese is going to be unfuckable. You can't,
This
you
is
cannot.
a secret family recipe.
Yeah, it's been
It
passed
goes
down from
through
like 3 generations now. Yeah.
Oh.
All right, well, that's in the food truck now. The Velveeta mac and
Yes.
cheese.
I kinda like
Master
the
Who,
concept
the Mama
of, like-
Master Who, the Master Moms,
Master
macaroni
Mom-
and cheese.
The Master Hoops.
Ah, rolls off the tongue.
There you go.
Mama Hoops.
Oh,
This
my
food truck's
God.
going to be like the size of a school bus. We're going to have to rent out like a food court size school bus to try and like fit all these
Is
things to
does
feed
it-
the people. It's
does
almost
it-
like a
does it
food
play
bank.
music like an ice cream truck?
It's got to.
What do you think it plays?
Uh,
Does it play a trap remix of "Do Your Ears Hang Low"?
that's so like 2007.
I
Sure.
know.
You know what? Fuck
but
it. Yeah.
There's,
Yeah. It has
there's a
2 songs on the
really-
playlist. It's Soldier Boy and Do Your Ears Hang Low. That's the only 2 songs.
No.
That's it.
I think the reason I got that idea too is because there's a really good tweet from Yohozi, and she was talking about being at CEO and getting into top 8 for a game. I want to say it might have been Persona 4, and if you're not familiar with CEO, for top 8 they have everyone who's going to be in there. They choose their entrance music to walk onto the stage with, and as a joke, when she originally signed up, she put down a trap remix of the Full House theme. And then when she actually made it to top 8, she's like, wait, hold on, I need to change this to something like for real now.
That's really powerful.
Coward.
It's
Oh.
so good. There is such a powerful energy there, and I absolutely love it.
That's really good.
Oh. God, I'm hungry. God.
I could go for some food right now.
We should probably move on from the food then real quick. How much time we've been going for longer than expected, but this is good though. I'm happy with this. So the original thing we kind of wanted to talk about today as our big main topic was RPGs as a whole. The genre has changed so much. It's one of like the big like classic genres that's been around, coming in from being inspired by classic tabletop games like Dungeons and Dragons and everything else, and it's still here, and it's still such a gigantic thing in gaming, right? And we've had a remake of Final Fantasy VII within the past years, which is kind of always been this big monolith in gaming. I mean, Final Fantasy VII is an entity. It is a cultural touchstone. As much as I hate to use that term and sound pretentious, so I kind of want to talk about RPGs and just all the wild, wacky shit with them.
Yes,
So
please.
I mean,
Yeah.
do we start with what's your favorite RPG? Is that where we should start this, or should we work our way up to that?
I think we should just lead off with that. I think that's going to open up a lot of discussion.
Okay.
I'm excited to hear what you guys have, because this is always like a very heated topic. Whenever anybody talks about their favorite RPGs,
There's a lot of options out there, so
Oh,
There's so many. And, I feel like it has to be prefaced by saying, hey, whatever answer I give right now may be different tomorrow or next week or the week after that.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. Yeah, I feel exactly the same. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, if I had to give an answer on the spot for how I'm feeling right now, it would probably be Final Fantasy IX.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
absolutely love that game. I adore the characters, the music. Yeah, the battles are a bit slow, but I actually really like the battle system and the way that your abilities work in that game, as far as you can learn. You can either use the skills and abilities that come on a piece of equipment, or if you use it long enough and get enough AP, they're like learns to your character permanently. I love the mini games in that game. There's some good ass fucking mini games. I love I think it's Tetramaster. It's either Tetramaster or Triple Triad. I can never remember which one's in 8 and which one's in 9.
Tetramaster, because Triple Triad is the one from 8, and that made its way to Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah. I love that card game. I love the mini games, the jump rope at the very beginning, which I think East Coast Throwdown actually had a side tournament one year for
I remember that.
For the highest record for jump rope. There's a foot race mini game in the game. Like, there's so many cool little things in there. It also features longtime Final Fantasy character Gilgamesh, who is just as great as ever. I love it. I really do.
I still need to go through and
about it forever.
I still need to go through and complete that. I bought it on the Switch with the wife for like a husband-wife like game to play together.
Oh, nice.
I'm only maybe like 8 hours in. I really need to go back into it. I adore it though. It just oozes charm and oozes character. The writing and translation is phenomenal. I think it's probably my favorite Final Fantasy, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite RPG.
What would you say is your favorite RPG?
This is gonna be touchy. This is gonna be a touchy one.
It's okay.
My favorite RPG. You know what? I'm gonna break this into two answers. Okay.
Okay.
My favorite RPG is Earthbound, because I think that's the one I think about the most. I think the best RPG though, if you want to like be critical about it, I think the best RPG is probably Zelda Breath of the Wild. I am only ranking that based on like if you've never touched a video game before and you're going to die in like a month, which is really morbid, but if you only had time to play like one RPG game, I think that's the most like genuine life-changing RPG to play. And that's how I rank it. I feel like it does so much for the experience of the person playing it more so than experiencing the story or experiencing like what the game is telling you to experience. And that's really unique. I think that's why I think Breath of the Wild is probably the best RPG, which is a really, 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 really hot take, I would say, because it's such a rich genre.
That's valid. I was pigeonholed and only thinking about JRPGs, but now that you said that, I was like, oh fuck, I have a different favorite. I have a different answer now for my question already. Do you
want to just like throw that out there right now, Lambo?
Oh, Disco Elysium.
Disco Elysium? Okay.
Disco Elysium is probably like my actual favorite like RPG. Because I finished it I think it was, time is weird right now, so I don't really know, but I think I finished it early this year, and like I've really like not stopped thinking about it. Okay, but I already gave my answers though. I'll step back. Disco Elysium's my favorite. Final Fantasy IX is my favorite JRPG.
Okay, good distinction.
Okay. Cool. Do I have to give two answers now?
You can do whatever you like.
All right, let me just throw down like my top 50. No, okay. I'm not doing top 50. I'm not doing top 50. This question's pretty hard, but I guess I'll go with the game that I played a lot as a child. It's a PS1 JRPG called Suikoden 2.
Ooh.
Oh.
If only because
was that your Vega impression?
Huh?
Whoa! Yeah.
Oh,
that's So go forward. Sorry.
Well, okay, hold on. I gotta do my Vega impression real quick. So I go, oh, like the CBS 2, like. All right. Anyway, back to on topic stuff. As a kid, I'm pretty notorious about like actually completing my games. But Suikoden 2 was like one of the few games I beat, and I beat it multiple times because I just liked having a lot of characters on hand and like just like walking around, checking out like what's going on in all these towns, meeting all these characters, and like putting them on my team. Like thematically, it's like a game that's about revolution. Like there's some kind of oppressive empire coming down, and and you as like the rebellious faction have to like get your people together, form your 108 Stars of Destiny, and then just like fight back against the Empire. Now you don't need all 108 characters.
Oh, thank God.
Cool things happen if you manage to get them all. For Suikoden 2, I never got all 108 characters though. There's always been like roughly like 2 or 3 characters I could never recruit. I don't know why. None of the playthroughs, I just could not get them all. Which something interesting and also like rather topical is that there's a Kickstarter that came up yesterday. For it's called Ayuden Chronicles, like 100.
Oh,
it's like the 100
yeah,
man something. But basically it has a lot of those like a lot of people that made like Suikoden 2 on board to create this new game. And I definitely backed it because I was like, you definitely got me at quite a good time right now. And that's a game that franchise hasn't been around for at least 10 years now or something like that.
No. Is it Konami that makes it?
It's Konami.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So
I think there's 5.
There's like 5 mainline games, and then there's a few offshoots. The ones that I know for sure are there's a DS game that I've heard wasn't super well received. There's a PS2 tactics game that's like kind of weird, but I did play that one. I think there might have been like one for one of the Sony handhelds, but that's all I can think of for right now. Definitely has not been a common name as what tends to happen with like a lot of Konami owned titles.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oops.
Indeed.
I've heard it's a really legendary title for PS1. It's PS1, right? PS1 RPGs.
It started in the PS1 era. Yep.
So I've heard of Suikoden 2 a lot, just kind of in the background. I've never seen footage of it. I've never played it. So I barely know anything about it other than just like the word of mouth about it, how beloved it is to people that play it, the absurd amount of characters I've heard about. It seems like it's always been one of those games that have been like in the back of my mind as something that I should try and touch sometime. I almost like really just wish I could like dedicate myself to just doing like an RPG world tour of just going around and like playing all the games that everybody talks about and get, well versed in all these RPGs. And if I had the time to, I would love to like sit down and do that. But it just hasn't really crossed my path quite yet, but I hear amazing things about it.
Those games tend to be pretty long, if I recall. Like, most of those games I've not played since I was like a youngin', where I had a wealth of time. That's not as much of the case as I'm sitting around mashing my keyboard in Final Fantasy 14, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
But
it's impressive that you even beat it as a kid. That's
impressive.
It
multiple times, but to make up for a fact, like I was one of those kids that like would like play a game a bunch, and I would get to the end game, and I would screw around in the end game, and then I never beat it. I'd play something else after time. So it is kind of a marvel for me to beat any game, even more than once, because like I want to do all this stuff at the end game. I'll just grind everything out. Oh, I'm tired of grinding stuff out now. I need to go do something else now.
Yeah, and then you never actually get around to going back to it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely, me to this day still. Yeah, I have such an extreme obsession with like certain things at certain times. So like a couple weeks it might just be like, oh, I'm in a music game mood. I just need to play music games for like 2 weeks straight and not touch anything else. And then I have a shoot 'em up mood where I have to play shmups and Touhou or whatever for like 2 weeks, and then it's like, oh, it's fighting game time. I remembered how fun fighting games are, and I just have these like hyper obsession pockets of genres. I just happen to be falling into the RPG pocket right now, So
Oh, yeah.
it's
Timing.
really like, oh, just I wish I had more time to like just play them all of them.
It's actually funny you bring up getting to around the end of a game and then starting to do a lot of extra side things in the background. Because lately, well, I guess I just said in the past year or so, when I was playing the Yakuza games, that's exactly what I was doing. I get to a point and I'm like, looks like end game. All right, time to pretend to know how to play mahjong, and time to go and get all these pictures and all these journal entries, and okay, it's time to go watch all the adult films and just like everything else in the game.
Yakuza is very good for that.
It really is.
Actually, like if I had like some stuff that could fall into my potential like favorite RPGs, also Yakuza 0 would also absolutely fill that void for me because I think that game's phenomenal. But
Same here, yeah.
that game is absolutely notorious about like if you want to like do everything, there's a lot of stuff that's like not quite as fun. Like when I did Yakuza 0 stuff, I definitely didn't do any of the casino things. Except for mahjong.
Oh. Yeah, honestly, I don't even... I think I tried to play mahjong like once or twice, and I was like, I don't have to 100% this game. I think that's what broke me. I was just like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I can walk away.
Imagine also having to... Also, besides just playing mahjong, you also have to do poker and blackjack and Texas Hold'em or what have you. And that's like... Casino games and video games are already bad enough. If I want to be able to 100% this game, I have to do that too. I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine if you were like playing online against people, but when you have to play against AI just to 100% the game, I'm sure it gets a little drab and a little
especially
boring.
when it's like
Yeah.
I don't care about money at this point. Like usually I can just go beat up some dude and get $1 million trillion.
Yeah, and Mr.
So,
Shakedown's
like-
just like
Yeah,
right
Mr.
outside
Shakedown?
the Mahjong. Yeah, he's just out there shaking.
God,
And you
the
can just
first
go walk
time-
out the Mahjong parlor and he's just right there being all shaky. Ah, it's me, Mr. Shakedown.
shaking you.
Got the shakes.
Oh god, the first time you see Mr. Shakedown, you're like, whatever, I'll beat up
Yeah.
this guy, and then you're like, oh fuck, Mr. Shakedown's real. And then you go on game FAQs
Yeah.
and you read about Mr. Shakedown, and you're like, okay, here's how I can beat him.
That guy definitely shook me down for all my might
Oh yeah,
a few times. What a rude boy.
he's messed up.
He's basically like the game's jump scare too. Like you see him around the corner, you just see his little like hot like icon above his head, and you're like, oh shit! You
Oh,
have to
hell
go down the
no.
like nearest alleyway, like any other direction. You do not
I need
want to
go
run
hide
into
in this
him.
convenience
Yeah,
store
you
because
see him
Mr.
on-
Shakedown's gonna beat the shit out of me.
Yeah, he's just on the other side of Camarocho, and you know he's just lurking around there.
It's Camarocho's
So
Mr.
scary.
X.
Yes.
Exactly. Oh my god. Yeah,
Has
play
anyone
Yakuza
modded-
0.
Has anyone mod RE2 to have like Kiryu as Leon and Mr.
man.
X?
Mr.
As
X is
Mr.
Mr.
Shakedown?
Shakedown. Oh my god, it's perfect.
And the zombies could be like other like just random Yakuza guys that try to beat you up and take your money. Oh,
Holy shit.
that'd be really good.
That would be really, really, really good.
Fuck. Okay, we got to move on a little bit. Otherwise, I feel like we're gonna talk about Mr. Shakedown and Mr. X and being like, who can jump higher? And it's like, oh shit, I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry, we need to move on from the Mr. Shakedown Appreciation podcast.
Yeah, from the Mr. Shakedown hour.
Shakedown hour.
So I wanted to know, because this is gaming and obviously we're all pretty opinionated. Do you guys have any hot takes relating to RPGs? I have one that's kind of on my mind, because I think there's a lot there's a pretty big tendency in games in general, but I think especially with RPGs to be like, this is the pinnacle of RPGs. This is the pinnacle. It's the best one, and I feel like Chrono Trigger gets that distinction a lot. Super Nintendo RPG, and I think that game is good. I think it's a very good game.
Oh
In
boy, here it
fact,
comes.
we were talking about this before.
Spicy.
Get him ready for the show. I know Jarv brought this up that it was his favorite. Great game, not a bad choice. But I don't know, like, what... I don't think that game is more than the sum of its parts in a way that, like, something like Earthbound kind of is. Where Earthbound is this really quirky and unique experience. Like, what's really good about Chrono Trigger? It has great music, I'll give it that. It's a pretty looking game. Story's pretty good. Story's actually pretty good. But like nothing here transcends or does anything super interesting with it. With like the medium, with the idea of a game. And maybe that's a lot to ask for like the 16-bit era. Maybe that's a lot to ask. But like
But then you look at like Earthbound, you look at like Final Fantasy VI, and I would say those are both like staples where it's like it took that genre and it was like absolutely didn't use the SNES as like a limitation. Like it tried to push the boundaries of like what both of those games were kind of doing in a way. Whereas Chrono Trigger is just a solid. They did very interesting things. Chrono Trigger's solid. Like it does. I don't think it doesn't do anything wrong, but I don't think it tried to push the envelope beyond what it's at like surface value of, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's neat, the idea. Hey, you can go and visit. It's the same map but in different time periods. That's cool, but I don't know. It kind of stumps me sometimes when I hear it being people's favorites. And like I said, I think it's a fantastic game, very good game. I just don't see it as like the pinnacle of RPGs.
I think as a collection, it's definitely a very like pretty game, great sound, lots of and it has like kind of like some neat concepts that it's trying to work with. I also think like boss design is actually like pretty cool in that game. Like it's been a minute since I've played that game, so like I'm a little bit rusty on like how the fights turned out. But like I think playing against the bosses tends to be more intuitive on how you're supposed to handle them than most games even now do. Like if you like, for example, towards the end of the game there's like the sand boss, and how you're going to fight a sand boss, I don't know. Yep. My dude has a sword. What do you expect me to do? I can't. Yeah, I try to cut the sand, but nothing happens. Sword him. Well, you know, what if you like threw water at him? Make him hard, and now he can actually hit the guy. Like stuff like that, where like more intuitive boss design makes it more interesting from that aspect. And also, I think when you're just like walking around like trying to get from area to area, like the enemies tend to be, generally speaking, less obtrusive. Like the basic encounters, quote unquote, like where you're not dealing with any of the boss encounters, when you're just trying to get from area to area, it's not nearly as obtrusive as most games can be about that. So it doesn't feel like the game is overstaying its welcome when you're just going from A to B. When I played it, I was playing the DS version where they add new content to that. And the new content that they released for that game, you can definitely tell that is a different era of thought on how battles could be. To the point where when I was doing the new area, I was getting super tired out from the random encounters. That I was like, I'm good. I don't really need to be doing this. Yeah. Let me just play the base game. I think that tends to make it a bit more standout than what a lot of RPGs tend to do.
Okay. So, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Again, I think like those all like definitely are concepts that like stand on their own and are like, oh, that was a cool moment in Chrono Trigger, but I don't know if it's like still like it's so good and it doesn't commit any sins. It's a pure gaming experience and like something an RPG fan should absolutely play. It's not a very long game.
It doesn't have any weak points. It doesn't
It doesn't have any weak points.
It's overall a very solid game.
I don't know if I like would put it on the pedestal of like this is what all RPGs should be at the same time. Like it's a very good experience, but I don't know if it's like the RPG that every other RPG should follow in its footsteps. I don't know if it does enough in its battle system. I don't know if it does enough in its story. I don't know if it's like the music probably is like top of the charts for that and what RPGs should probably strive to be, and music alone, like, and setting as well. I think the setting is phenomenal. The characters are fun.
Good.
But as far as like playing the game, it's like, yeah, these are fine, but I don't know if it's like doing anything that like makes every RPG look up to be like, I need to do that. I need to be like Chrono Trigger.
Yeah. And and maybe that's a function of us looking at it, or at least me looking at it in 2020. Like, I guess, compare it to what else was that at the time, and like,
oh yeah, we're really looking at it way farther down the line. If I'm trying to like look back on like when that game came out, I don't even know what other games.
Technically or technologically, whatever the right word is here, when you look at what was possible, I guess, for programmers working on the Super Nintendo, something. I mean, I can see that not being an easy thing to have done, and I'm thinking like the battle system right now for whatever reason. I don't know why I didn't say that. But I'm like, okay, well, shit. Like, consider like the hardware limitations they had to work with and everything else, and it's no small feat to do what they did. And kind of the more that I'm thinking about it and trying to put it in the perspective of look at it around the time of release, look at what else was out around the time, and like the only thing that probably came close, like in just pure terms of like technicality or even polish, is probably Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah,
like Earthbound's an amazing game that will always have a place in my heart, but when it comes to just like pure polish and like shit, man,
that's one of the games where I think like other RPGs should look back at that and say, hey, that was exactly what I want my game to do. Like that was I would say masterclass, everything. Setting story, masterclass, stamp of approval. I would say I prefer Final Fantasy VI over Chrono Trigger any day. I feel like it's just more of a all-around bigger, better experience than what Chrono Trigger has. That's not to say that Chrono Trigger, again, doesn't do anything wrong. I think that Final Fantasy VI took what the SNES does and what RPGs were doing and just pushed everything to its limit. And like I'm looking at like Chrono Trigger came out in 1995 though, and I don't know what year Final Fantasy VI came out, but looking at RPGs in 1995, like it probably was the best of its time. There was like Suikoden 1 came out, Tales of Phantasia came out, Shin Megami Tensei, Dragon Quest 6. Like Dragon Quest was going on for a while, but I feel like Chrono Trigger would probably be an advancement with Dragon Quest kind of like set forth anyway. So like looking at it that way, yeah, I'm sure Chrono Trigger was probably like the best of its time. And we're probably being a little harsh, like going back and looking at it critically this hard.
Yeah. Apologies to Jarv. I mildly blew Jarv up for him saying he didn't want to watch G Gundam, and I feel like I'm blowing him up over Chrono Trigger. That's not it at all, Jarv. I just wanted to be a little spicy.
A little spicy. I think you're overdoing it a little bit.
Damn.
Oh.
You want to hear my hot take?
Yes, let me hear your hot take. Save me from Gord blowing me up right now. Please.
I think Secret of Mana is a pretty crappy game. I really don't like Secret of Mana.
Okay.
That's a hot. Okay, so discuss.
Okay, so,
I'm laying that on the table. Y'all do what you want to do.
So actually, I kind of agree with you.
All right, hey, I'm off the hook. All right, Gordon, take the floor.
So I actually beat Secret of Mana probably like a few years back. Because like it was one of those games that like as a youngin, I watched my brother play a lot of RPGs, and Secret of Mana is one of those RPGs that I watched my brother play a lot, so I wanted to revisit it. It also broke my relationship with my brother for a decent while because one thing that I did was erase all of his save data.
No, Gordon.
My really shitty save data, where he was like trying to farm like the endgame weapons and stuff.
Oh, God.
So,
Gordon.
Hey, look, I was but a child. You could not fault
you know
me.
what? That's fair. I actually did the same thing to my brother with the JRPG when I was very young.
We've been there, yeah. Anyway,
I'm a perfect little angel. Go on.
Yeah. Alright. So, Secret of Mana is a relatively interesting game in the sense that you can tell that they were really trying, like, the developers were trying for something quite a bit different in the RPG space. You've not really had a game where you're like fluidly going into like kind of like an action RPG combat system. Sadly, like the actual action part doesn't stand out like super great. Like it feels really chunky when you're actually trying to play the game.
Oh, absolutely.
And
yeah.
One thing that I realized with that game is that like first half of the game, all the enemies and all the bosses are gorilla. They do not care about what you're trying to do. There's this one snake boss that you have to fight, and it's just like weaving in and out of like the trees, and all you have is a sword. And you're trying to hit the snake, and you're like, this is not happening. There's no hit stun on anything, so I hit it, and then it just plows through me because there's no such thing as hit stun that exists. So it does not stop when it gets hit, and I'm just eating a face full of boss, and there's nothing that I can do. But then you start approaching the midway point where you get magic, and then you can start asserting your dominance over the bosses because you put the enemies into infinite hit stun when you cast magic on them, and then when you actually hit the end game, you're like, I have so much magic that I'm just constantly like locking the boss down with magic over and over.
Down
they can't
spells.
do anything anymore.
Chucking fireballs, pooping out lightning bolts.
Yeah, it's just like you thought you could move? Nah.
You idiot. You absolute buffoon.
You absolute fool. It's over for you.
I'm actually on the same page. I don't really like that game either.
That makes me feel a little bit better because like people like hold it in such high regard, and they say it's like one of the SNES like classics that you have to play if you own a SNES. And while I agree that it definitely, again at the time, was probably like, oh, this is like a really high quality, fantastic, polished SNES game compared to like all the other like Looney Tunes garbage that you're getting, it doesn't hold up. I don't like revisiting it. I don't like playing it. The combat's real chunky, like you were saying. Like the beginning of the game's very difficult, absurdly so. I remember buying the Switch collection where it had the Final Fantasy Adventures, Secret of Mana, and Trials of Mana.
Yep.
And that's where all this came from. I played through Final Fantasy Adventures. It was absolutely fine. Pretty fun game. Played it start to finish, and I was like, oh, this is cool. Then I started Secret, and I had to put it down. I couldn't keep playing it. I don't know. It just the combat wasn't drawing me in. The cool part was that you got so many different weapons to play with between like swords and spears and whips and magic and stuff, but nothing really felt great to use that makes me want to keep on playing it and keep on leveling up.
Did you ever play Trials?
I did, yes. Yeah, I played Trials. I think Trials is an improvement.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I do like Trials. Secret of Mana definitely has some room to improve, and I think Trials is where they really did improve. I think the one big step back, I don't think there's 3-person play in Trials of Mana. I think it's only 2-person play. Like if you were to play with other people. Don't quote me on that.
It only has 2-person. There is a mod that was done for the Super Nintendo version, so you could actually have 3 people play at once. Yeah.
Perfect.
But
there you go.
Yeah, not in the
That's
base game,
a fun thing to do. Having like two others to play with. That's a fun
Oh
way,
yeah,
way to
that's
play.
a fun. Yeah, honestly, it's
Well,
like the difference between like playing Mario Party alone and Mario Party with like
I
your
feel like
friends.
that would kind of suck
yeah,
though, because if you're playing as someone who uses magic, it's like you're constantly like, hold on, wait, I'm gonna pause.
oh,
so
gotta
I
go
can
through the
now use
wheel.
spell ring,
Yeah,
and
Yep.
you're pausing all the time.
but it's a fun romp. Like I could see that being absolutely like really fun with friends. Just like everybody like playing couch co-op and stuff. Like same thing with like some of the Trials games have like Trials like co-op play with other people, and I think that's just something magical and special where the game is just opening a gateway to getting you to hang out with your friends,
Yep.
Yeah.
and that's fun. But I don't know if I'm going to sit there alone and play Secret of Mana. It's not very fun.
I think I will say that if anything, what I think Secret of Mana is that it's actually like a really good like kind of like history lesson of like where we've gone with like that kind of game. Like it's cool to see that like this is definitely like one of the earlier times of like where you can roam around and hit things rather than like, you know, like you can only go one at a time
Yeah.
and whatnot. That said, yeah, it's not exactly that fun to play now.
Yeah,
No.
ARPGs have come such a long way since then, and I'm glad that it existed to kind of like
Yeah.
set that foothold in for other games to kind of progress and take the ARPG genre to the next level.
Good lord. Some of these early ARPGs, a little rough, a little hard to go back to. Hard to
A
love
little
in
stinky.
2020.
You don't want to go and play
Yeah.
Lagoon?
That no.
But
Gord, do you have an RPG hot take?
an RPG hot take?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if this is a hot take per se. I guess it depends on like how you feel about this system. But I mentioned random encounters before, and I kind of really dislike any kind of random encounter where you're kind of like wandering around and screen
that's not a hot
chatters.
take.
Okay.
Everyone fucking hates that shit.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah, I
that
think
was
we're on
gonna
the
be
same page.
the thing that I wanted to bring up, and I'll talk about a little bit because, like, as someone that did the Final Fantasy 4 Job Fiesta thing several times, I've gotten like 5 or 6 clears, I think, of that game. But like, it started getting harder and harder for me to like do that because at a certain point, I'm like, hey, random encounters, please go away.
Yeah.
But I can't run away because for some reason I need to use the brave knife or the brave sword or whatever. But like, it started like grinding me down so much that I'm like, you don't think I can? I'm
Me
as
too.
willing
I mean,
to go through it.
At that point, I've done 4 Job Fiesta a couple times now, and there's no shame in like, hey, I'm just gonna hold down the fast forward button to get where I need to go because all these fucking random encounter, or using that to grind out levels on a particular class. Which also I am upset at myself for not thinking to bring up 4 Job Fiesta earlier in the podcast.
4 Job
'Cause
Fiesta
holy
is
shit.
good.
I've never played the
Do
4
you-
Job Fiesta. I know kind of it. That's Final Fantasy V, right?
Yep,
Correct.
That you do that in. Never played Final Fantasy V either, so
it's a fun
maybe
game.
it's on the list of like many RPGs that I still
4
need to
Job
tackle.
Fiesta is a great
but-
way to play it the first time, honestly.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
I think it'd be a fun like
depending-
stream
depending
game.
on
That'd be
what
kind of
your
fun.
draw is. Gord, do you want
Yeah.
to explain what 4 Job Fiesta is?
Okay, yeah. So Final Fantasy V 4 Job Fiesta is, it's run on Twitter. Basically, there's a bot. I think it's still called GoGoBot.
Yep, yeah,
Or it's
Gogobot.
like- Yeah. Basically,
Cocobot.
yeah. Basically, like when the 4 Job Fiesta starts up, you can add the bot to essentially give you what 4 classes you have to beat the game. So like, essentially,
With no class switching, you're just stuck with what you get.
you are stuck
Yeah.
with what you get. So like,
Ooh.
and I think with the base settings, essentially each crystal, because there's 4 crystals that all have, when you get to that section, they unlock a certain set of jobs. And with the base setting, you are given a job from that crystal specifically. So like, there's like 6 classes for the first crystal, and then some up per each one, and your party composition will eventually become like one character with a job from each crystal, and then you beat the game with that setup.
It's really cool.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of different things you can add on to it too. There's a bunch of modifiers, and one of the most well-known ones is called the Berserker Risk.
Berserker Risk.
Now, that
sounds rad.
That adds into the pool of jobs that you can get assigned as the Berserker. And you're thinking, okay, well, why is that a risk? The Berserker can only attack. And it's not that they can only attack, it's that you can't control them. And they will only do physical attacks. They will not.
That's so much
you
fun.
cannot control who they target. If you're attacking someone that, say, has high physical resist, or maybe does a counter if they're attacked physically, Berserker can really screw you up. There's other things too you can do. I can't remember exactly what the name is, but it's team, and then it's a number after it, which is based on. I think it's
like 750, or it's
team. Yeah, team 750. Which is, I believe that's the cost in gil for magic rods in the game, which the idea is that you attack by using them in your inventory, which breaks them, and then cast spells on the enemy.
Very interesting. So many like creative ways to play through that game, and I'm sure like for fans of Final Fantasy V, that's a great way to revisit it. For people that have not played Final Fantasy V, I see why it would be a really fun first experience to just really make the combat be a lot more thought-provoking, because Final Fantasy kind of falls into this thing of I'm in a random encounter, just gonna keep on hitting it, just mash through attack and just get through the battle as fast as possible, which is fine.
You'll find a lot of ways that you had never or would never really consider. So the first time that I played through, the first class that I got was Thief, which is actually pretty hard at the very beginning. Because
Thief start is really
it's rough. It's really fucking rough. But then it's like, okay, now that I'm going through the game, I need to know, okay, who do I need to steal from? Like, what enemies do I want to try and find to steal from? There are certain items you can only get from stealing from bosses. And so it's, okay, this was really hard at the beginning, but I can find really cool ways to make this work. Basically, then I got super lucky and I got Chemist. So the rest of the run became very easy once I got Chemist and I got the materials that I needed for Chemist shit, because they are just broken as fuck in that game. But anyway,
that sounds like a blast.
It's a super fun way to play the game. I would highly recommend you, or honestly anyone else who's interested. There's probably the best way to play the game. There is a mod of the Game Boy Advance release of the game that uses the music from the Super Nintendo version of the game, because the music in the GBA version is not very good. So that's not a hard Google search to make. If you want to try and look for that, seriously, 4-Job Fiesta is a very good time.
Even then, the base game itself, if you've not tried it before, it's just
a
lot of fun stuff.
People sleep on that game way too hard. Final Fantasy V is real good.
It's a fun drop, and if you want to know where Gilgamesh came from, you gotta do
it. Also, Ultros is from 5 too, I think, right? Or
nope, 6. It's 6.
6? Ah, shit, that's right. Well, fuck me, I guess.
Rip.
I think we should probably put a cap on it. I know we had one other question to go for RPGs, but we're looking at almost an hour and a half. This is probably our longest podcast episode yet. So
no problem.
I think this is a good place to put a stop in it for now. Thank you, not only to you, the beautiful, beautiful listener, to listening to this episode of the YASEcast, but thank you, Master Who. Thank you, TK Shadow, for being on tonight. Really appreciate having you guys here. I am Lamo, as always, from now until forever. I feel like I've heard that line somewhere else before. Now I'm just going to be thinking about that for a while. Master Who, where can the people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at Master Hooligans. That's WHO Ligans. On Twitch at Master Hooligans. And on YouTube at Ret's Play. Which maybe I might just have to do a 4-Job Fiesta on Ret's Play. That'd be fun. Yeah. That'd be a fun series.
TK Shadow, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at TK Shadow, but the O is a 0.
Oh. Sneaky,
One day,
sneaky.
I'll get the actual
One day
account.
you'll get it
One
spelled
day.
with a regular O.
I will get the one with the regular O because the one with the regular O only has like 3 tweets or something.
I wish you the best of luck.
One day.
One day. And you can find me, Lamo, on Twitter at Lamo_SD. You can also find me on Twitch TV at twitch.tv/Lamo. Now that I've got some kinks worked out in my little Mr. Computer, we're playing a lot more Kaizo ROM hacks and stuff like that. I've actually going to start replaying some old ones where I'm using my hitbox instead of a regular controller, and that's going pretty well. I'm liking that a lot right now.
Ooh, that'd be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, so tune in sometime and catch me there. Again, that is it for this week's YASEcast, which I'm pretty sure is episode 17. It is episode 17. Thank God I still had the media channel scrolled up to the number of the last episode. We'll be back next week, but until then, stay beautiful, stay wavy. Summer months are pretty hot. Go buy yourself a hot new tank on the Yase shop. Go to yase.world. Get yourself some swag. Look good this summer. Listen, I know. You're not going out. You're quarantining. You're being a beautiful, smart, respectful person. You're worried about COVID. We all are. I get it. But you can still look good for you, and you should look good for you. And you're going to look so goddamn good in one of the Yase Angel tanks. Let me tell you.
Look,
chef's kiss.
you gotta treat yourself.
I'm not a chef. I'm not a chef, but that was a chef's kiss.
You gotta treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
We'll
All
have
right,
a chef come and kiss you if you
Yeah.
buy a Yase tank.
If you buy two,
The chef will
you
come
buy.
and kiss you.
Tell you what, you buy 5 things from the Yase shop. I'll dress up as a chef, and when at the next major I am at, I will kiss you on the cheek.
Mwah. Mwah.
Yeah, just like that.
Mwah.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you again to Master Hooligans and TK Shadow for joining us. This was the YASEcast, episode 17. We will see you next week. Have a good one.